It truly is a fantastic day to be an LSU Tiger, not only a Tiger, but an LSU Tiger fan, as we embark within about 3 hours or less. The three young men that play college football at LSU will hear their name called. First, it will be Jayden Daniels. Secondly, will be Malik Neighbors. And then thirdly, and more than likely today, Brian Thomas Jr. We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. Hope all of you are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. We were off last night, had some T-ball that we had to get to, so many things that we had to get to. But we're here, we're live, we're right here with you. Excited for the NFL draft. We'll talk about that here today. We'll talk about not only that, but players leaving, but LSU still needs some players to come in. As we're on day 7 of our talk between you and I in reference to the transfer portal and what LSU continues to pursue. If we have time at the end, we'll preview a little bit of Auburn baseball. We will be live tomorrow night after the LSU-Auburn game, so you can be joined in with us there in the Friday night postgame as Gage Jump stays in that Friday night slot, and we'll get to start against the Auburn Tigers. The Tigers desperately need a sweep, in my opinion, here to start feeling a little bit better about themselves, because then the following weekend you have Texas A&M, and there's a likelihood that you how do I want to say this? You have a tough battle on your hands, right? So with that being said, you really need to go for it all against a really bad Auburn team. We'll talk about that here tonight as well. I've been getting a lot of messages about, Blake, where's the commitments from defensive tackle? Well, I told you, I think you're going to get one of the big four. I don't know if you can get all of them. Well, we continue to sit here, and my take and opinion and sourcing has come to play out at the current moment. So we'll talk about that here tonight as well, or today as well. I forget that this week we have not really gone live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, not once, because we've had to move some things around. It's been really good for our time frame, been really good for the show, indeed. So glad to be here with you. I got to admit, man, it's only 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and your boy has already walked close to 5 miles today, 11,958 steps. Your boy went to his Audubon Zoo with Ben. Man, you talk about some walking. Food was actually good. Only thing your boy ate was 2 hamburger patties with some cheese on it. Throw some cheese on that bit. But boy, you want to talk about some walking. It was hot, 95 degrees today. So if I see him a little bit flustered, it's because your boy got his steps in already 11,000 before 4 p.m. Very, very good. So look, we got a lot to talk about. We got lots to discuss. Ben Jones says Joe better dip that hat in flavored KY to pass it later. So here's what I'm going to say. I think it's funny that Joe DeLeon in March of 2023 said that if Jayden Daniels was a first-round pick, he would eat a hat. Today, we have arrived to that moment. Here's the truth. I'm not making Joe DeLeon eat a hat. Wearing an LSU hat on shows, that he can do. Eat a 10-pound hat cake. Sure. Okay. There are things we're going to do. In reference to actually making him eat a hat, I am not going to let him or make him do that. I don't want him to die. So, yes, my co-host on Ruffino and Joe Show did say that. It's going to be kind of funny. Stephen Fry says, Jayden to Washington, or did he give them the middle finger? And he gives a little emoji of middle finger. Ready for the pick is in chime. Yeah, so listen. I will be on Joe's show tonight. I'll share the link. I've already shared the link. But we'll be doing a live draft party tonight. Kind of just cool. Come kick it with us. We'll be breaking down some of the picks. Caleb Williams actually announced that he's going to be wearing nail polish. Yeah. I'm out. Been out. Will stay out. I'm out. Okay. I am not going to be dealing with Caleb Williams and this nail polish thing. Y'all can do whatever you want. I am not going to be. I'm not entertaining that foolishness. I'm just not entertaining that foolishness. And Sid Steffen is in here with us. Good to have you in here, buddy. Always remember our good friends over at Fry Construction and Dirt Services, site work and land development, oil and gas services, land development, aggregate and soil hauling. They do it all. Waste containers, demolition, 161 West Maple Street in Eunice, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-457-5100. Let them know that your good friend Blake sent you on by. So, listen, I need your favor for just a quick moment. Does our camera look okay? You tell us in the chat. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Do you think our camera looks okay? I've had some complaints. Always some complaints about something around here. So I'm going to go ahead and get y'all's thoughts on it. Do you think the camera looks okay? Give us a thumbs up in the chat or a thumbs down in the chat, and we'll fix it at the end of the show. Let us know. LSU Hyper Ninja 9 says, I'm really excited to see where Brian Thomas Jr. lands. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that, man. I have heard some things. I've heard some rumblings. With that being said, I talked about this last night. I'm going to echo some of the things, some things that I heard this morning. I'm sure my wife was not necessarily thrilled with some of the phone calls that I received, but at least she got to hear, or text messages, I should say. But, so, the day of the life of someone who, gets news occasionally. So, a little bit more than occasionally, but nevertheless. All right, camera looks good. All right. Somebody said that it looked uneven, and I'm like, I don't know how much more even I can get than the center line. Like, I legitimately don't. So, there's that. All right, I appreciate y'all. Give us a thumbs up if you think the camera is all right. Anthony B. Saint says, hey, we let you off for shaving your beard. Cut the man some slack. That is true. I am cutting the man some slack. I 100% am cutting the man some slack. But y'all dictated that. I was ready. I told you. Was ready to come in here and do it. Y'all saved me. Olvet says, great job getting those steps in. Yeah, man. But just go to the Audubon Zoo. You will you 100% will get those steps in, man. It's kind of chaotic when you talk about it. Or you walk about it. See, I'm already flustered. All right. Appreciate it, Stefan. Rand says, the problem that I have with the Saints, we'll talk about the Saints here too, and probably going to pick an old lineman, is not the prospects. It's the fact that we're still dealing with the issue on the line. We haven't drafted them well. I mean, Ryan Ramczyk wasn't a bad pick. Going back into the first round wasn't a bad pick. But you drafted Cesar Ruiz. And look, a lot of people hated Andrus Peat. I'm going to stand on business on that one, to be honest with you. Mainly due to the fact I think that a lot of people were wrong on Andrus Peat. I gotta be real. I think a lot of y'all were wrong on Andrus Peat. I mean, the dude made multiple Pro Bowls, man. Multiple Pro Bowls. Like, calm down, Peter Pan. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all got to calm down on that. So yeah. I mean, did he have bad moments? Yes. But a lot of people for the Saints had bad moments. I mean, like, y'all got more mad at Andrus Peat for missing a block than y'all did Drew Brees for ever throwing an interception. I know it's Drew, but you get what I'm trying to say there. All right. We got lots and lots to discuss. I do like this. And Ryan says, like, share, subscribe, add. I think he's saying and multiply. Well, I've multiplied twice. No more multiplying for me. No more multiplying for me. But you can do us a favor by hitting the like and share to all those groups on Facebook and all that stuff. All right, one more, then we'll get rolling. Jude says, Joe dismissing Kyron being the first-round pick next year because of lack of production when Jamar and BTJ had less than 400 yards before their breakout seasons was funny. Shout out to Joe, though he's great. Look, here's the problem that someone like Joe goes through, because we have a pretty big following, or I have a pretty big following on social media. So what happens to a guy like Joe is when I argue, a lot of the LSU fan base travels. And if he gives what would be nationally, which, look, I'm going to be honest with you. What Joe gave was a national, honest opinion. The problem is he's not taking his boy's word for it, you know? So we'll see. I'll be with him tonight. We'll share the link out as well. So it's going to be fun. Another draft party, man. I've done a lot of draft parties. It's been fun. I will tell you, I'm not doing it like I've done it in the past. I'm just kind of want to chill. You know, if Ben or my daughter comes in here, all right, fine. Like, we're just chilling, man. I'm not – this shit gets chaotic, and it gets chaotic quickly. Very, very, very quickly. I'm not about that noise. All right, let's get rolling. Everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups on Facebook. Share to all of your social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you are listening to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our good friends over at BetOnline, our good friend Tyler Alexander, and our good friends over at JJ Exterminating. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Let's talk some NFL draft. What are we hearing around the draft? We'll tell you that next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events, with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
We're back. Maybe we should just go with this sound all night. I just had a NFL guy just send me Joe DeLeon's text, a front office guy in the NFL. He goes, "Oh my God, this is great." That's funny. Let's get this thing rolling, y'all. So today is going to be a massive day for LSU, and not only because of Jaden Daniels, but not only because of Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas, but the entire brand gets put on display tonight. Now, it's always on display. Look, you're a place, you are a university that Obviously, the gym team or gymnastics team just won a national title. That's on the world stage. Basketball, baseball, football. You are a place where you come here, you get developed, you win national titles, you leave a lasting legacy. And I will just tell you that today is going to be special in the day of Louisiana State University because 3 young men are going to live their dream by getting drafted into the NFL. Now, obviously, we're going to talk I'm going to go first round in order, and I'm going to throw a guy who there is chatter about that's an LSU guy that might even find his way late into the first round. At least that's the buzz. I don't know how much I'm buying it. Let's start off right now very quickly about LSU quarterback and Heisman Trophy winner Jayden Daniels. Listen, I don't know if, and I've told you this before, if I can remember an LSU player that has done and had the success at this place that has taken more criticism on and off the field, which, by the way, Jayden has never, and I mean ever, been an issue off the field, but it's taken more criticism than him. You know, I remember Auburn last year, and a lot of people blaming him. Well, they didn't blame the receivers for having 5 drops in that game, but nevertheless, they did. I remember people saying to bench him and not, put in Nussmeier. I remember that vividly. But, there's something to be said about a guy who comes here to get developed, who wins the West, who puts the entire team on his back at times and does some things that, quite honestly, guys, we might not ever see here again, especially when it comes to running the football. He is a special human being. And a team today, which I do believe it's going to be the Commanders, is going to get one of the most special, not only players, but human beings that this world has ever seen. Does Jayden have some things that he needs to clean up? 100%. I think Jayden would be the first one to actually tell you that there are things that he's got to work on and get better at. Because now you have another Heisman Trophy winning quarterback that's going to be drafted probably second. And I say this in the way of, man, you're already on a pedestal, but guys like Bryce Underwood, who's the number 1 player in the country, looks at stuff like that. My son, or your grandchildren look at him and some want to grow up being like him. That's the kind of lasting legacy that a guy like him leaves. I do think that there are teams, though, that are trying to move up. And the Commanders hold this number 2 overall pick and would have to give a gauntlet of stuff to get Jayden Daniels. But the biggest misconception here, and why I do think that Jayden Daniels is taken or has taken a lot of flack in this draft process, is because they wanted teams, or specifically the Commanders, to not be in love with him and to potentially want to not pick him or pick somebody else so that they can move up to New England at 3 and trade to go and get him. Look, I will tell you and remind you, because I do this every single year. Do I think there's going to be a handful of trades tonight? Yeah, I do. But there's always rumors the day of the NFL draft to give buzz about your team. Historically, it does not pan out that way. But I'm going to aid into it. If by whatever reasoning, Jayden Daniels does not get selected in the number 2 spot by the Commanders, I guarantee you that there are probably 5 teams that will want to move up to come and get him. Blake, 5? 5 teams don't need a quarterback. Are you sure? I think that New England could stay where they were. I think the Raiders can come up and get him. I think the Vikings could come up and get him. I think the Giants could come up and get him. Oh, and there's might be a little bit of a sleeper team that is out there that maybe nobody is talking about and nobody has even remotely mentioned. You know, I heard something last week and I blew it off from a friend of mine. Of all the teams that you've heard, and you've heard about a lot of them, boy, the Seattle Seahawks have been very quiet, haven't they? So I don't think he's getting past number 2. And if he does, he's not getting past number 3. So, guys, he's going to be in the top 3 picks. Congratulations to him. He deserves it. Guys, I believe this in my bones. And I actually told you this a lot last year when me and Joe DeLeon kind of argued about it. I do believe that he is the best player in this draft. And I will tell you that there are things – hold on. We got some breaking news. Hold on. Yes. Who's it from? I'm talking to the interns. Who's it from? All right. This coming from Todd McShay just now. Washington is more than likely going to stay at number 2 and select Jaden Daniels. Okay. There you go. So I do trust Todd McShay a lot here. And he also says he believes that the New England Patriots are going to stay at 3 and take Drake May. How about that? Okay. So our boy's going to be on the map. Let me just tell you this one little thing before we get to Malik and BTJ and somebody who could find themselves pushing up into the first round. Let me tell you this. I have been very vocal on this. I am out on Caleb Williams and have been out. Let me tell you something that happened yesterday, and these are just a culmination of things, okay? Yesterday, every NFL player or every NFL draft guy that was or is at the NFL draft was giving a gray sweatsuit with a number on it, if I'm not mistaken. Every single player that was there was wearing the sweatsuit besides Caleb Williams. That's the kind of human being that you're drafting. It is all about, as the great Toby Keith once said, the great song, it's all about me. It's all about I. It's all about number 1, oh, my, me, mine. Want to think, want to talk, want to know, what I want, what I see. I like talking about you usually. But occasionally, in Caleb Williams' case, not occasionally, he wants to talk about himself. I'm out. I've been out. Tonight, he's going to be painting his – apparently, he told reporters – that he is going to show up with and be painting his nails. What? Like, do what? Good on Chicago, man. They've done their due diligence. They're drafting a guy on the field that wants to improvise to make himself look better. I'm out. I've been out. So I want my quarterback to be quarterbacking. I want them to be Jaden Daniels on and off the field. I want them to be Jaden Daniels. Even kill. The last play doesn't affect them. I'm not buying this Rudy Poo. I think Caleb Williams is a bust. The ability is there. You can't deny that the kid can play. The kid's got some really good traits among him. But if I'm going to draft a guy number 1 and give him $25+ million, I'm out. I'm out. And I would not be shocked if there weren't a lot of teams that didn't have Jaden closer to Caleb Williams than people think. I don't know how y'all feel. How do y'all feel about Caleb Williams? Tell me in the chat. I'll put some of them up. How do y'all feel about him? We'll get to him in just a second. Malik Neighbors. Guys, I have no idea where he's going. I think that here's what I believe. Do I believe that Malik Neighbors is going to be a better overall pro than Marvin Harrison Jr.? I do. Do I think that they're using Malik Neighbors to drive up TV ratings saying, oh, he's going ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr.? I also do. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to the Cardinals. I agree with Joe DeLeon on that. My co-host. I'm not buying at all what I feel like they're trying to pull something over my head here and say, oh, well, he's going here. And maybe I'm wrong. It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if at number 4 that Malik Neighbors comes off the board at all to the Cardinals. Not one bit. I think he fits their style of play more. And quite honestly, I don't know if I want Malik going to the Giants. I think Brian Daboll does not have the quarterback he needs to win there. So I do think Malik is going to be anywhere between 4 through 8. And he's going to be a top 10 pick. As a wide receiver, guys, that's impressive. The all-time leading receiving guy, yards and catches, if I'm not mistaken, it might be catches too, but all-time leading receiver at LSU, Malik Neighbors. And who would have ever thought it, man? Quite honestly, was one of the lower-rated wide receivers in that class that you took. So I think you know what Malik is, man. I don't know what Malik doesn't do well. I think the only thing that people have pointed to that maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. would have over him because he's taller is how much higher he can get at high pointing. But Malik jumps a 42, 44-inch vert? Like, I mean, what are we discussing here? I like Malik. I like the tenacity. I like the tenacity more. And I like that Malik is just a flat-out dog. Like, bro, Malik would get in a phone booth and fight you if he needed to, if it was going to give his team a touchdown, and it has nothing to do revolving around him. I think he's a fantastic trash talker. And I think something plays to it in that position. He does all the little things right. And for a guy that wears socks above his ankles, hell yeah. I love me some Malik Neighbors. I think he goes 4 through 8, so we'll see. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be the more interesting prospect here on where he lands. Last night there was some scuttlebutt in reference to Kansas City, who needs a wide receiver very desperately, that they will trade up and go get somebody, particularly Brian Thomas Jr. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think that Brian Thomas Jr. gets selected in the top 15. I do think that he's going to be around that 20 to 25 range. And I think the Bengals make a lot of sense. I think that the Buffalo Bills make a lot of sense. The kid is special. And look, here's something that we do too. We talk about Brian Kelly and never give him his credit. The first offseason that Brian Kelly was here, he said that he thought that BTJ had more traits than anybody in that room, and that was only a matter of time that if he put it all together, he'd be a first-round pick. Here we are. That's a head coach who's been a head coach for 30-plus years, identifying a guy who he knew that would one day make it here. And the good thing about Brian Thomas Jr., more than Jaden Daniels and even more than Malik Neighbors, he's more than likely going to go to a team that can compete now. T. Higgins wants out of Cincinnati. Does Joe Burrow have the influence that if he's there to go get him? We will have to wait and see. I think BTJ, a lot like Malik, does a lot of the little things well. You know, I remember, and not even a play that he was remotely involved in, and other than blocking. My favorite Brian Thomas play ever was when LSU played Alabama in 22, and he absolutely bulldozed Eli Ricks into the sidelines and manhandled him for Jaden Daniels to run in for a score. Guys, without Brian Thomas Jr., you do not score there. It's and it's not even him catching anything. He had a lot of great plays. But that's the kind of dude that you get. Let his small frame fool you. I dare you, because the dude is a dog. There is some. Let me finish out with the LSU guys, and just this one last one. I think that Mason Smith has a fantastic agent. I think that his agent continues to leak out that he has the potential to go in the first round. I don't mean this in a wrong way. If a team selects Mason Smith in the first round, they reached. They can get him in the second. I think Mason has the ability. I question if he has the want to. So, there are some rumblings out there that he may just indeed go in the first round. I'm not buying it. Do I hope that he does? 100%. Because then, if he does go tonight, the defensive tackles that you're going after in the portal, Brian Kelly can literally go to those guys and say, guys, we didn't even have a defensive line coach, and we got dudes here that are going in the first round. Would it help LSU? Yes. Do I think he's going in the first round? Not even remotely close. Not even remotely close. All right, hold on one second. Let's get to the Saints before we get to some DT transfer portal stuff. Saints selected 14. I'm really intrigued to see if the Saints will be a team that moves up. I don't think they have the capital. I think they got to stay at 14. Guys, it's not going to be an overwhelming pick. Not for what you think. It's going to be a tackle. The only player that I could see the Saints moving up for would be Joe Alt, and I don't think that they're doing that. I think that they're content to take one of the three tackles and call it a day. They need tackle play. Guys, I'm a massive Saints fan. Like, really, I am. We don't talk a lot about them, but I am a massive Saints fan. I have no faith in the direction right now. Zero. And I think that there are a lot of people that do Saints podcasts and Saints shows and talk to Saints a lot, and they fluff you. They 100% fluff you on the reality of where it is that the Saints sit. Guys, you're not a playoff team. I see a lot of Saints fans talking shit about Kirk Cousins. Oh, injured Kirk Cousins. An injured Kirk Cousins probably can win a division before Derek Carr. So they're probably going to go tackle. If it were me and I was the Saints GM, head coach, I'm taking Brock Bowers. And I'm not even blinking. If he's there, I'm taking Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers is one of the best playmakers in this entire draft. And I think if you miss on a guy like Brock Bowers, you're missing on what could be excellence. I think he's that special. Now, a lot of people have talked about his inline blocking. Okay, well, Jimmy Graham wasn't a great inline blocker. He made it work. Antonio Gates wasn't always a great inline blocker. He's a Hall of Famer. Sometimes you got to pick greatness over need. And are there tackles in other parts of this draft maybe you can go and get? Potentially, maybe. But you're so desperate at that position, it just continues to show how badly you need a tackle. And you got to look, if you have any chance, you're going to have to protect Carr. Any chance. So yeah. All right, let's get to a couple of these. Conrad says that will get a GM fired. If you're talking about Mason Smith, I agree. I agree. PJ Clement says, have you ever met Caleb in person? How do you know that? What other things do I need to see other than his actions? See, here's what y'all do. Okay? You come in here and say Blake's a fucking hater and Blake hates and all this shit. I'm not the one out there painting my nails saying F Utah. I'm not the one who wants to point everything at himself. And when the NFL gives you something to wear, you do your own thing. Have you met him in person? No, but I did see him up there crying with his mama when on his third, fourth loss of the season. It's not like he was in contention of anything. It is all about him and where the camera is at. He goes on the Pivot podcast, said he was mad at Lincoln Riley for not starting him over Spencer Rattler. Fair. Okay, he's a better prospect. Fair. He was a true freshman coming in. Rattler was a 5-star quarterback. He's entitled. He is the face of Gen Z quarterbacking. Have you ever met him in person? You ever met me in person? You sure as fuck have most of you have a really good opinion about me. I hate, let me tell you something. H-A-T-E, hate. I hate his antics. Loathe them. Now, I got women, okay, that come on this show and say, oh, and stick up for him. Blake, you just hate people who are zesty. I don't give two Rudy Poos could care less. But and you're going to call me sexist on this. Women have not been in football locker rooms like I have. Sorry. I've never been in a women's locker room. Sorry. It's not going to. I guarantee you, Caleb Williams, week 1, week 2 is going to get checked by someone in that locker room, a veteran in that locker room. Guarantee it. Mark my words. Mark my words. C. King says, if Caleb Williams does succeed, I'll be shocked. Me too, brother. Me too. Jordan says, Malik reminds me of Justin Jefferson. Jettas is bigger. 6'2", 2 inches taller, bigger hands. You know what the better comp is, ironically, from a size and weight perspective, and actually numbers perspective, is Jamar Chase. Both 6 foot, both 205, both had a 42-inch vert, both went a 4.340. Actually, Chase ran a 4.34, I think, and Malik ran a 4.35. He's going number 1 for a reason. Let me ask you this question, PJ. Has number 1 picks ever busted? LSU had a number 1 pick that busted at quarterback. PJ, let me ask you this question. Did you know all those things that Caleb Williams was doing before we mentioned them, or are you just spouting off? Hype Ninja says I think, look at this new avatar. My man loves him some Pikachu. My man loves him some Pikachu. Says Caleb Williams is the worst Heisman Trophy winner I've ever seen in my life. I can't go that far. I can't go that far. I can't go that far. Oh, we missed the super chat. Okay, my bad. Simper says Williams is 1,000% a bust. Been saying it for years. Also, BTJ will have the best NFL career of all the receivers in this draft, even more than Malik. How about that? Would not shock me, though. Wouldn't shock me. Thank you, Simper, for the $5 super chat. I agree with you. Other than I don't know. I don't know if BTJ has the best. I think a lot of these things too winds up with situation. Like what situation and scenario. Like, let me give an example. If BTJ finds himself with the Buffalo Bills or the Cincinnati Bengals, and Malik Neighbors winds up with himself with Daniel Jones, yeah, that's not going to be good. That's not good. I agree with this. Dennis Rodman painted his nails. Dennis Rodman's not a quarterback. They're asking Caleb Williams to be Michael Jordan. Imagine being this dumb. All right. Let's get moving. We had some question about defensive tackle earlier in LSU. Let's scroll up and get to a couple of them. I know that Travi Dyson asked a couple. He says, yeah, if Jaden got 2, let's see. Man, why you did me like that, Blake? I thought. No, I'm not going to change my order because of you. Andrew says, Blake, you missed an opportunity to have Joe pour a beer or whiskey into a hat and chug it. That would have been cool. What about a shoe? All right. Let's talk some LSU football very quickly. We got to finish up and we'll wrap up with some baseball here. So, yeah. All right. So the transfer portal continues to be a big thing. A lot of players and a lot of defensive tackles continue to go in the portal. Even Georgia, having one that entered the portal, played a little good Mexican standoff there and went right back to Georgia. Listen, I'm going to continue to say what I've been saying. I don't know if you're going to get 2 of the top 4 guys that were in there. Guys are taking visits, and I don't know. But I do know that you desperately need them. I know the question that you've continuously asked me is, when are they committing? When are we getting them? And the answer that I will continue to tell you is that I don't know. Do I think that you get one of these big defensive tackles in the portal right now? Yes, I do. Do I think you get both of them? No, I do not. And I will continue to say that because, like I warned you before the portal opened on April the 16th, guys, there's so many teams in the interior defensive lineman. You're not the only one, and you won't be the only one. With that being said, I do think that teams are all going to majority get one. Now, Auburn got 2 really good interior defensive tackles in Isaiah Rakes and Phillip Blitty. But now you sit in a place where you need one of the big ones. I think you mean more than that. And quite honestly, guys, after this season is over with, you are not very great at that position group, right? You're not deep. You're not deep at all. You're very shallow at that position when it comes to quality depth. I've told you, I do think that this staff did believe that Mekhi Wingo or Mason Smith or both would be back on this roster for this upcoming season. They are not. They are in the draft. And you're in a very bad place at this exact moment. So what I will continue to say is I don't know who you're going to land. I think it's still a little too early. Now, things can start turning this weekend. Things can start turning after visits are over with, and I think that it will. But as an example, Tyler Barron went into the portal again. A lot of people believe that he might go back to Ole Miss. So even the defensive line of guys that you wanted to kick the tires on, It's not trending in your direction at the current moment. I'm not panicking and I'm not worried. Once the portal is closed and there's not guys, or there are guys that are still uncommitted, okay, let's see what happens. But man, I will tell you, as every day goes by, there are some concerns that continue to matriculate here. That's a good word that my mother, who was an English teacher, would love. I do continue to get a little bit more worried as things matriculate here about where you're going to go. Guys, I mean, you made a lot of cuts. You told some guys that they needed to move on. And I don't even know that you're completely done with telling guys that they need to move on. But move on for what now? Move on from what? Because if you're unable to land at least 2, if not 3 interior defensive tackles, then you made cuts for nothing. Maybe you attempted, but it won't matter. I do think that LSU's got to attack this position group even harder. I don't think it's all on Bo Davis. I do see Bo Davis getting a lot of criticism. And I will tell you this. I think it's unfair to only put any blame on not getting any portal DTs because of him. Guys, he's coming to a place where it's new of him being the defensive line coach or interior defensive line coach. It's got to be a 3, even 4-headed monster when it comes to the recruitment of guys in the portal at that position. Blake Baker, Bo Davis, Brian Kelly, and even alongside Kevin Peoples, all 4 have to be involved here at a high level. You see, what happens is we look at a guy like Brian Kelly or look at a guy like Bo Davis and say it's all on him for not getting guys already committed. It's not solely on him. It's not even solely on the coaches. Let me give an example. I do think that they got to get more organized on some things at what they're doing when guys like this are bigger name guys hit the portal. Well, they've done it before and they'll do it again. They got to get a little bit more organized on how they're doing things. But if it were me, I would be tweeting out, if I'm the LSU media director, I 100% would be sending out a link to Bayou Traditions every single week, every single day. Because fans are going to have to help. Until something changes, fans are going to have to help. It's the nature of the beast. And you can hate it all you want. But I think you would rather give $100, $200 than your team sucking. Or at least a position group on your team sucking. Don't put it all on one person because it's not fair to that one person. Guys, he hasn't been here 4 months. The entire staff has to attack it. It's not just one human being. Okay. See some of the news that we missed along here. Interesting. Brandon Ayuk might be on the move. Wouldn't it be crazy if Brandon Ayuk and Jaden Daniels were on the same team again? Be interesting. All right, let me take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up with some LSU baseball, and then we'll get out of here. Stay with us. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with a great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
Ruffino and Joe Show is brought to you by Home Field Apparel, which is the best, without a doubt, premium collegiate apparel brand that is out there. They have over 150 different colleges that you can choose from, whether you're an Illinois fan or a Rutgers fan, maybe you're an LSU fan like Blake, or maybe you're an Alabama fan. Whatever it is, even Idaho, they have so many different designs for so many different football programs that I can guarantee you're going to find some great stuff to help root for your favorite team. I've already gotten my Notre Dame stuff. Blake has his LSU stuff. Make sure you head on over to homefieldapparel.com to check out your team's collection of clothing apparel that they have on the website. And when you do so, when you check out, make sure you use promo code RuffinoJoe to get 15% off your order. That is RUFFINO, Ruffino Joe. Head on over to homefieldapparel.com and get your college gear today.
So LSU faces the Auburn Tigers, which this might be the last time we face the Auburn Tigers in quite a while because we won't be facing them in October or September like we normally do during football season. But listen, LSU baseball this weekend has a chance to take on a very bad baseball team that you can beat. And not only can you beat, I do think that you can, and I know this is very difficult, but you can sweep this Auburn team. Now, what normally happens is we see a really bad team like Auburn and say, oh, man, easy sweep, or we got to sweep, we can sweep. And I agree to some of it, like we can sweep. Don't misunderstand that they still have talent on their team. You know, I look at Cooper McMurray, number 26, who's hitting above 350. I see a guy like Ike Irish, who's hitting above 325. I see that both of those guys are over the double-digit mark when it comes to home runs. Both of them are closing in on 50 RBIs on the season. I look at a guy like Cooper Weiss, who's hovering around that 300 mark and is hitting the ball really well, playing really good defense. Guys, Auburn at the plate is not a bad team at all. Not one iota. They're not a bad team. But they're really bad on the mound. And if you really want to get your bats going like you did last weekend, this is a team that you can face and actually get some really good production out of. They have not shown the ability to be great. Now you start a home and home, back-to-back weekends where you're going to be in the box, where you face the last two, you were on the road. Let's go take it to them, man, because you desperately need a sweep. You got Texas A&M next weekend. It's going to be tough. The number one team in the country comes into town. I have a lot of faith that you can start turning some things around. You won the series last weekend versus Mizzou. And a lot of people wanted you to sweep. I'm one of them. You're a run away, actually 2 runs away from a complete sweep in Como. You come storming back on Saturday and you're unable to close. But I do believe I really, really, really do believe that you could sweep this team. But at the end of the day, when we all put our head on the pillow, the one thing that they just have to do, just win the series. More than going out there trying to do too much, just win the series. Because if you do, God knows what you can do next weekend. Then it's really win or go home. Then you really get in against Texas A&M, a win or go home situation. I think that the three guys that you're going to see Friday, Saturday, Sunday from Auburn, you can absolutely tattoo off of. You know, like I look as an example, I look at Chase Alsop, who has had some moments and flashes, but has started 9 games this year, 46 innings pitched, and he's allowed 35 runs in those 46 innings. That's just not good enough. This is gonna really. They're going with Carson Myers too, and in 38 innings, he's given up 16 runs. That's not been that bad. 3.72 ERA. He's been somewhat more consistent. He just hasn't had the run production behind him. Guys, you can really tattoo off this team, and we'll be live here tomorrow night to wrap it all up into a perfect little bow. But I really do think that you could sweep this team, but just do what you need to do. Win it, get out of there, and then you have a win or go home type of scenario. Not completely, but type of scenario next weekend against Texas A&M. So looking forward to the series and looking forward to some more LSU baseball here. All right. Let's get to some more of your comments. Brandon Reese says, one mock draft has the Vikings trading up for McCarthy. Jesus Christ. There's no way. Guys, there's no way. No way I could do it. Zero, zilch, nada. No. All right. Let's get out of here. Bullfrog says, I'm speaking it into existence. Williams and Burrow are going to be at LSU next year. Mark my words, damn it. Not going to happen. Let me back up. I shouldn't say not going to happen. At this exact moment, I don't have the confidence. DK says that Williams is not going to Colorado. He'll visit LSU and Mizzou and then wants to have things done by next Wednesday. Doesn't make me feel good. Penn Jones says, Blake, could we go after both of the ones from Michigan State? We could. I think that Burrow would be the one that you land. If you miss on Burrow, you really need to go after Harmon. Guys, you're getting to crunch time here. You are getting to crunch time. I'm not panicking yet, but you're getting to crunch time. Penn Jones says, Blake, am I wrong to think JJ should be a third pick? Or you mean third round or the third overall pick? If you mean third round, no. If you mean third pick, yes. JJ McCarthy couldn't hold a third round, the third overall pick's water. I think you mean third round pick. I'll tell you this. I would take J.J. McCarthy in the third round. I don't think J.J. McCarthy's that bad. I don't think he's that bad. I think he's bad. I don't think he's that bad. All right, let's get out of here. We'll see y'all tonight. Hack City. We'll be on the draft show with Joe Daly on. Until then, we'll see y'all soon. Have a good one. Peace.